Right now, President Trump attending a military parade Saturday evening to celebrate the Army's 250th anniversary festivities as he celebrates his 79th birthday. Also, thousands at the No Kings protest take over downtown Madison, their message to the current administration on the president's birthday. And we're following the search in Minnesota for a man who shot multiple lawmakers, taking the life of one of them. All that we know so far. That's all coming up on News 3 Now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. Now we're going to take a live look at the nation's capital. President Trump again attending a military parade Saturday evening to celebrate the 250th anniversary and the festivities of his 79th birthday. The parade itself has sparked controversy, receiving both criticism and backlash for the cost and the optics of the parade itself. Protesters are showing their opposition to the military parade and the president himself in cities across the country, including right here in our state's capital. Labor unions and liberal activists aimed to counter-program the day's festivities with the No Kings rallies to protest what they see as the president's overreach in his role as chief executive. Now, we had a crew at the rally in Madison earlier this evening. That is where we find News 3 Now's Tanisha Shaw, who is currently on State Street. Tanisha, we're getting reports of damage downtown. What can you tell us at this time?
Hi, Jalen. This is news that we just got into our newsroom just minutes ago. So behind me, you see this building right here with this brown wallpaper. It's a business that's not open yet, but it was the only building that we know from Madison Police Department that has been vandalized during this protest. And I want to emphasize again and say it is the only one. Now, we cannot show what's on that building on TV because it's expletive and it's just not meant for TV. But I will say that it is a racial slur. That's what's on the building at this point. This bus is going past it right now. But again, here on State Street, it's the only building that has vandalism. But just an hour ago, 15,000 people were here going from Library Mall to State Street all the way to the Capitol. We're going to put up video right now to let you see all those people that were here. And Jalen, as you said, this is for the No Kings rally here in Madison. It's a protest that's taking place all across the country. It's the day of the Military Day Parade and also on Donald Trump's birthday. Now, when protesters got to the Capitol to speak around 3 p.m., they started with a moment of silence for the Minnesota lawmakers that passed away.
I'm here to defend our Constitution and our right to protest peacefully, and that's why I came down today.
We got to fight for what we've always had. We can't let one man tell us what we're doing. We can't be fearful of one man. Hell no.
Yeah, and his militarizing the Army and the military is terrifying. So yeah, we definitely have to stand up.
This environment we're in right now, I would love it to stay peaceful and festive. Let everybody do what they need to do in a peaceful protest. We don't need you to send anybody in here to be so we're afraid. Because the fear is what keeps people down.
And as I was saying, we also heard from Senator Bernie Sanders by phone, and we also heard from Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock, who made a surprise appearance that really got the crowd going, and we heard a lot of feedback from that. And as those two people were just saying from the protest, this was a peaceful environment. There was women, kids, and a lot of people. Again, MPD saying that about 15,000 people were here all the way from Library Mall on UW campus, marching all the way to the Capitol. I'll have much more on this protest tonight at 10 p.m. Jalen, I'm going to send it back to you.
Updated both on air and online as we gather more information. Tanisha, thank you. Now let's get a look at your first one forecast with the meteorologist displays color blaze. It's pretty nice outside right now.
It really is. It's a beautiful afternoon. We held off on the rain today, but that's not going to be the same as we head into Father's Day. So hopefully folks are able to get out and celebrate Dad today because, as I said, tomorrow we get a little bit more rain in the forecast. Let's take a look at the graphics there. We are anticipating 80s for Father's Day on Sunday. Very variable cloudiness. There will be some sunshine. It will be warm with a light southeasterly wind. And then we're going to watch as scattered showers and thunderstorms start to move in, not only during the morning hours, but then again into the afternoon further to the west. Temperatures right now in the upper 70s to low 80s across not only Dane County, but across southern Wisconsin. Again, it has been a beautiful day. The humidity hasn't been too bad, and temperatures were really able to climb into those 70s and 80s with that sunshine. Rain chances move in not only for Father's Day, but also for the rest of the week, including that Wednesday severe weather chance. We're going to talk about the latest regarding that chance coming up in the full forecast.
All right, sounds good, Blaze. We'll see you in just a bit. Law enforcement sources say police have identified the suspect who allegedly shot and killed a Minnesota state lawmaker and wounded another early Saturday. Sources say police are looking for this man, 57-year-old Vance Bolter. They say Bolter works for the security company Praetorian Guard Security Services. Officials previously said the gunman impersonated a police officer. State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband were both killed. State Senator John Hoffman and his wife were wounded in a separate shooting. Both lawmakers were members of the Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party. Officials say they found a hit list containing nearly 70 names in Bolter's car.
My good friend and colleague, Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark, were shot and killed early this morning in what appears to be a politically motivated assassination. Our state lost a great leader, and I lost a dearest of friends. Speaker Hortman was someone who served the people of Minnesota with grace, compassion, humor, and a sense of service. She was a formidable public servant, a fixture and a giant in Minnesota. She woke up every day determined to make this state a better place. She is irreplaceable, and we've been missed by so many. Minnesota's thoughts and prayers are with her family, her loved ones, her children, and her parents.
Governor Tony Evers released a statement following the shootings of the two Minnesota lawmakers from this morning. The governor says, "My heart breaks for our neighbors across the river. We are praying for the Minnesota lawmakers and their families affected by the senseless political violence and all those who are working to respond to this horrific situation." In response to the shootings in Minnesota, Wisconsin Democrats are taking additional measures to protect attendees at their annual state party convention in the Wisconsin Dells. The convention is set to span Saturday night through Sunday morning, with guest speakers expected to include Governor Tony Evers himself, U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin, and Georgia U.S. Senator Raphael Warnock. News 3 Now political reporter Will Keneally is at the state Democratic convention with the latest.
Yeah, we're here at the resort, as you can see behind me, that is hosting the Democrats and their state party convention. Now, this is coming at a time where Democrats want to make gains in the state capitol in next fall's 2026 election. And we sat down with Democratic State Party Chair Ben Wickler about that dynamic.
Applying all the lessons of last fall was a blowout victory for Susan Crawford this spring. So we can feel a blue wave that's starting to surge up in our state. People are infuriated by what the Trump administration is doing.
Should Democrats in Wisconsin be concerned by any kind of tumult that's happening at the National Party? Does that spell danger?
No, I think that the key thing is figuring out where to put our energy. And in Wisconsin, we're one of the few states that runs a year-round organizing program in every part of the state, in the bluest and the reddest areas and everything in between.
Now, we'll have more on-the-ground reporting this weekend from the Dells at that state party convention. And you can see more from our interview with Wickler this Sunday at 10:30 as we take For the Record on the road here to the State Democratic Party convention.
Will, thank you. In front of the governor's mansion this morning, 100 public school advocates rallied to ask Governor Evers to stand firm on his budget proposal for special education reimbursement. This week, lawmakers approved funding special education in Wisconsin schools at a 35% rate this fall and a 37% the following year. This is less than the 60% the governor proposed in his budget. Advocates like the president of the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association argue that anything less than the 60% would be insufficient to meet the need of the state's public schools.
We're here today to ask Governor Evers to stand up for his budget, to fight for his budget, and not just Governor Evers, but every single legislator, because it's time for them to do right by the students in Wisconsin.
Today, attendees and speakers called for the governor not to sign any budget that does not increase the public school special education reimbursement to at least that 60%. Coming up next on News 3 Now at 6, continuing our coverage of the military parade in the nation's capital, what onlookers have to say.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Thank you for staying with us. Continuing our coverage in the nation's capital, as President Trump is taking part in a massive military parade this evening, commemorating the Army's 250th birthday. It also falls on the president's 79th birthday and has drawn both celebration and criticism. Natalie Brand reports from along the parade route in Washington, D.C.
Army veteran Chad Sangster traveled with his family from upstate New York to join the Army's 250th celebration. He served in Iraq after 9/11. What are you thinking about today?
Just thinking about their memories, my memories.
I was thinking about both of my grandfathers and my father and my son and my husband.
As an Army family, what does that mean to you?
A sacrifice.
Saturday's tribute started with a wreath-laying at Arlington National Cemetery and culminate with a rare military parade featuring some 6,600 soldiers, 150 vehicles, including tanks dating back to World War I, armored fighting vehicles, as well as Blackhawks and helicopters.
I'm a veteran, but I believe in service to country, and truly our country has the greatest history on the planet of the world's greatest fighting force.
President Trump has said he wants to celebrate that strength. But the display has drawn criticism for its cost and optics, including from veteran and Democratic Congressman Seth Moulton.
There's a reason why we don't do military parades like Russia and China and North Korea. We have an apolitical military. It doesn't just support a president, it supports the Constitution. And that's why this is a spectacle.
This is what democracy looks like.
Today, critics of President Trump organized what they call No Kings demonstrations in cities nationwide.
We love America, and we want to make sure that we can fight against the authoritarianism that's happening as we speak.
Downtown Washington, D.C. is under heavy security, with miles of anti-scale fencing and thousands of law enforcement personnel enclosing the parade site. Supporters of the event hope the spotlight stays on those who served. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington, D.C.
Coming up next on News 3 Now at 6, we head to Baraboo for the city's annual Big Top Parade celebration. And Blaze Keller returns with a complete look of your First One forecast.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
The Big Top Parade returned to Wisconsin's Circus City today. The parade in Baraboo features traditional circus parade equipment and circus-themed floats created by community members. Our Ellie LaLiberte brings us the sights and sounds.
It's just a fun family entertainment. Look around how many people it brings into Baraboo. I mean, a small town of 10,000 people, and there's 10,000 people here today.
I am 15. I've been coming to this parade for 15 years because I love it. It's kind of a family tradition.
It brings so many people from so many different backgrounds all together.
I actually live in Janesville. We missed it last year because of the rain and everything, so we wanted to try and catch it. Yeah, I was actually impressed with the bands.
Music? I mean, it was okay. I would say it's been the best circus that I've been to right now.
I'm extremely excited, extremely happy. My favorite part of the circus is all the people that come to see it.
Ellie, thank you. Today's activities also included live music, bounce houses, and of course, the circus performances at Circus World. And boy, it was the perfect day to head on out to the circus. Let's get a look at your first one forecast with meteorologist Blaze Kelly.
It really was a beautiful day all around, and we were expecting this. Sunny conditions today, a little bit more cloud cover tomorrow, unfortunately falling on Father's Day. So hopefully folks are able to get out and celebrate Dad today, because tomorrow's not going to look too nice, especially compared to the sunny conditions we saw today. And those rain chances continue into next week, with that severe weather chance still looking possible on Wednesday. Let's jump future track ahead. Morning hours on Sunday, we're looking at isolated to stray showers and maybe a few thunderstorms. We do get a break in the afternoon, but then notice out west, as we've been saying, that redevelopment and those showers and thunderstorms will cross the Mississippi and then start to fall apart as we go further into the late afternoon, early evening hours. Not anticipating any severe weather on Sunday, but that changes as we look to Wednesday. So this was yesterday's outlook for Wednesday. This is what we were looking and talking about Friday. This is what the current severe weather outlook's now. This is still for Wednesday, but you notice that not as much of us are in that yellow. We've shifted that further towards the east, but we're still going to keep parts of Greene, Rock, Jefferson, as well as Walworth counties, to name a few, underneath that possible 15% chance for severe weather. So what does this mean? This means that we're seeing possibly a more eastward, especially southeastward shift in this low pressure system. Does that mean that we're completely out of the woods when it comes to severe weather? Not necessarily, but this is some good news. We get rid of the severe weather threat, but we keep the beneficial rain. And we've been talking about this yesterday and today as well. We're going to continue to look for consistency, and so far it's not consistent. We had a lot of us underneath that severe weather threat yesterday. Now this is pushing off towards the southeast. Tomorrow we may see even more of an eastern push, or we may see the severe weather threat return back to parts of central and southern Wisconsin. The point is, stay with News 3 Now for the latest. We're just going to first warn you about the chance as we look ahead to the middle of next week. And we're at that point of the year where we're going to continue to see near daily chances for showers and thunderstorms. And especially as our temperatures get a little bit hotter next week, most of those chances are going to be later in the afternoon into the early evening hours, because we build up all that heat during the day. And once those temperatures start to cool, clouds will likely start to develop and some showers and maybe a few thunderstorms form. In the meantime, we're talking about some very beneficial rain over the next 7 to 10 days. Everybody in the blue, so that's essentially all of Wisconsin, at least an inch to possibly an inch and a half of beneficial rain across all the state, and nearly half of the state is abnormally dry. Still holding on to those moderate drought conditions along the state line. So we do need the rain, Jalen, and it looks as though maybe we're going to get rid of that severe weather threat on Wednesday. We'll still keep an alert day for now. If things continue to push east, we'll get rid of it. We're just going to first warn you about it, as I mentioned, to keep you guys updated. And we could be flirting with the 90s Tuesday and then that following weekend as well.
Okay. So I was actually in Minnesota the last couple of days, and it was cold and rainy the entire time. So I'm happy to get back home.
Yeah, where it's nice and warm.
Yeah, we've got some heat, some sun.
It was really nice today.
More like summer.
Yes, it definitely felt like summer today.
I know. All right, well, sounds good. Thank you, Blaze. Still ahead in sports. It is Championship Saturday for Wisconsin State softball. Our Andrew Bancher joins us with the highlights when we return.
It is Championship Saturday down at Goodman for state softball, and the tournament is on. 4 teams from our area made it to the state final and are looking to end their seasons with a state title. We'll start in Division 2, where Jefferson is hoping that the 5th time is a charm. In their 5th trip to the state tournament, they're fighting for their first state title. But the Vikings of Denmark had other ideas. In the first, for Denmark, Macy Maliza mashes one to score a run, and it was just not the Eagles' day. As you see the Vikings score here, they took a 1-0 lead in the first, and in the second, it was more Denmark. The girls from up north got it going on. Jefferson can't handle the ground ball, and it's Denmark capitalizing on it. They'd score 2 more there. It's not over, but it's also not looking great for Jefferson, who are trailing 3-0 last we checked in the 6th inning. Well, Poinette and the state softball tournament are simply synonymous. This year is their 13th trip to the state tournament. The Pumas have won it all 6 times, and today they would make that they've been to the state title game 6 times, and they'd look for their 4th state title today since 2018. Poinette already ahead 1-0 in the first, but they wanted more, and it was the Gavinsky sisters that got it done. Emma skies one, and no one is home as the Pumas pounce to an early 2-0 lead, and later they would add to it, courtesy of another Gavinsky. This time it's Grace Gavinsky who clears the bases with a double, clearing the way for a Poinette State Championship. I did say something incorrectly earlier. This is their 7th state title. How about that for the Pumas? An incredible journey comes to an end for Poinette. And down in Division 5, our area was going to be a winner no matter which way the cookie crumbled. Belmont looking to add to their trophy case with their 1st state title since 2019. Also from our area, Almond Bancroft looking for their 1st ever state title. In fact, it's the first time they've reached the game. The Braves of Belmont trying to make a statement early and did. They had it from the jump because in the first, Morgan Freeman at the dish with runners on 1st and 2nd, and she rips one up the middle to start a 3-run first, and Belmont's lead would only balloon. In the 3rd, it was Callie Hodgson's turn. The shortstop sizzles a single to score 2, seeing her team off to a state championship. The D5 state champs won it by a final score of 8-3. And of course, congrats to all of our winners.
Yeah. Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, how about that? That's amazing.
I know of all the names, I'm sure she grew up hearing that all the time. But a quick check before we head on out.
Yeah, we're looking at a cloudier Father's Day with rain chances continuing next week.